Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress of Comic News, episode 81. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside this guy,
Mike, the other host. Here he is.
I just want to say how ashamed I am of Dick Grayson right now.
Yeah, I didn't know when they told me there was a Titans show coming out. I didn't know they were going to draw content from All-Star Batman. At least the dialogue, right? Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. So, quick housekeeping. Wasn't a show last week. I apologize. That's on my end. Things happened. If you follow me on Twitter, you know what happened.
Yeah, blame Chris. Don't blame me.
Yeah, this time it's my fault. And earlier today I recorded with the guys at Comic Book Rundown. So on August 16th, my episode is going to air. And actually, I'm on 6 episodes. So check them out. They do these little 15-minute episodes. And it's really cool. So check them out. And in the middle of the month, you'll be able to hear me on there.
Man, 15-minute episodes. Must be nice. We were doing the interview today, and I was like, man, we cannot let this go as long as the last one because there's so much stuff. I'm just looking at this list of stuff. I feel so bad for whoever's on the show today because there's a lot to get to. Yeah,
because when you're scheduling people, it's
you
all
can't
right, we'll do this day. And then I realized, oh shit, that's probably the week we're going to talk about San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, so maybe next year we'll try to remember. Don't talk about San Diego Comic-Con the day you have an interview. But yes, today we have an interview. Justin Ryan, he writes for Alterna Comics. He has a fantastic graphic novel out called Trespasser. Very sci-fi, very horror-ish. It's very good. If you if I could give you an atmosphere of the book, it's Outcast by Kirkman or something like Jeff Lemire's Gideon Falls, along that kind of eerie, suspenseful, with a little twist of sci-fi to it. So check that out. We got a good interview with him today. All right, and now the show must go on. Let's start talking San Diego Comic-Con stuff. The thing that everybody's been quoting, it's turning into the new meme on the internet, is the fuck Batman comment. So the Titans trailer dropped.
It's fuck Batman, marry Superman, kill Aquaman.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know what happened there, but so there was a trailer. It looked like a fan, a high schooler's film project, if I had to describe it as that. They went all out for Robin's costume, and then they ran out of budget, apparently. And I feel bad because Starfire's actress, people are shitting on her, and that's not number one, because she's African American, which is awful. Why? I don't understand. You realize Starfire's skin is orange, so why are you yelling at this poor girl for it? It doesn't make any sense to me. What I will say I don't like about Starfire is that she's wearing a fur vest. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. Everything about this trailer was wrong.
Second of all, he says fuck Batman. What? Third of all, he's curb stomping people, and the punching and the crushing of people's skulls is so cheesy. It was I was watching Evil Dead or something. Was the type of graphic they use for killing people is the effects from Evil Dead, which is fine for Evil Dead, maybe not fine for Titans.
Yeah, especially since this is the launching pad for your streaming service.
Yeah, they lost my money. I was
not a good jump.
No, not happening. They did announce the price. What is it I think $7 a month or something like that.
$7.99.
$7.99. Yeah.
I still might get it just so I can rewatch Batman Beyond.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. And all the Batman cartoons, but like it just, I'm sorry, the show just looks bad.
Yeah, we'll see. I believe it's show run by Berlanti. Could be wrong there. So I'll still give it a shot, but yeah, I don't know if I hope so.
They did announce a Stargirl show for the streaming service, that's pretty neat, I guess. But of all the female leads to run as a show, I wouldn't pick the girl who just has like a cosmic rod that she flies around on and shoots laser beams with.
I understand that Jeff Johns has a very personal connection to this character because of his sister that passed away or something.
Yeah, for sure, yep.
So this is not a shot at Jeff. This is not a shot at her. Nothing like that. I think this character is extremely boring.
Yeah.
And I don't think she can hold her own show. And I think this is kind of a pet project from Johns that he really pushed for, and we'll see. At the end of the day, any character can be good when done by good writers.
Yeah, but
I don't see this one.
My head goes to like what they did with Vixen. For like the DC, they started off with like animated, and they like brought her into the Arrowverse or whatever. Even a character like that who has multiple abilities, like her possibilities of having abilities are endless. Like she harnesses the power of animals. Like they couldn't even build anything around her. I feel like she was still very flat as a character. I had no interest in her. Like I thought she was cool as a character, but like when they did it on live action, I was kind of like, eh.
Yeah, and I think that Stargirl is one of those characters that fits really well as a side character or as a part of a group. I think I rather would have seen this move done in Legends of Tomorrow and have her lead that team.
Yeah, and this isn't our first rendition of Stargirl. If anybody remembers that little known show called Smallville, we got like the JSA appeared in their PJs. For that show, which was like way more than you could have ever expected to see the JSA like on live action. And Stargirl was there with her cosmic staff or rod, and she was there. So that's that. Yeah, we'll see. I'll probably watch this rather than watching Titans, though. I don't think I'm even going to watch the first episode of Titans. I don't even.
Yeah, like I said, I'll give anything a shot, but
yeah. Anyways, Clone Wars is returning for a new season, though. That's something we can get behind. There we go. Chris is clapping. He's excited.
I'm excited.
With this announcement, I did queue up my watching stuff, so now I have Clone Wars on my watch list. Gonna power through it. Gonna do it all. Gonna watch it all.
So, are you ready to have even more to watch? Because you're gonna have to watch Rebels as well.
I have Rebels queued up, so. And I'm looking for the way to. There's a way to watch the Clone Wars where you skip all the droid episodes. I'm probably going to do that.
There is actually a way, and I want to test it, but I don't have it. But there's a way to watch it in chronological order because the show really skips around a lot. It starts off as kind of a war tale story, so they just do stories and they don't care about chronological order until like the third or fourth season when they start really like, oh yeah, we're actually doing something really cool here and building stuff. That aside, this is actually Ahsoka Tano from Rebels coming. I forget, but there's some connection to Rebels and Ahsoka Tano, and they're really focusing on her as the character, and I'm super excited about that. I love Ahsoka Tano. I love Clone Wars. I loved Rebels. This was the news of the show for me.
Boom. There it is. Not the news of the show for me, though, because, DC had to rock Hall H. But, feels good. Nothing from Marvel. That's it. Felt good. I'm just sitting here and taking it all in because I can't wait to talk about these trailers. Okay. DC Animation announces a Hush movie, which is, that makes sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was bound to happen sooner or later.
They're doing all the iconic Batman stories. I'm pretty sure we'll get like Long Halloween or Dark Victory next, maybe. Calling it, or maybe even they haven't done Nightfall yet, right? I feel like they could have easily adapted Nightfall.
I don't think they've done Nightfall yet.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. They're doing a Hush movie. A Justice League versus the Fatal Five movie is set for 2019. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that one I don't have faith in.
No?
The DC animated movies for me, the team movies have been kind of okay. They seemed, with one huge exception, but won't talk about that. They seem to get the Batman movies.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to see them focus more on singular characters than trying to do these big stories and do iconic storylines.
But I mean, a Fatal Five is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it also is that I don't have much of a connection to Fatal Five. So
yeah, I mean, they're a bunch of. Well, I don't know who they announced if they're going to change up the Fatal Five. Who's going to make them up? But they're not A-list villains. That's for sure. Yeah,
that would be like if Marvel announces animated Avengers versus MODOK's 11. I would be through the roof, and you would probably be like, "Yeah, no thank you."
I'd probably still watch it though, because like MODOK never gets the limelight. Feels bad. Okay, so we got a couple big trailers to talk about with DC. First one being the Aquaman trailer. Oh, yeah, it was. I was watching with a group of people. Some people were like, trying not to get hyped, and I'm like, no, I'm hyped. Like the whole. We start the trailer off with the whole like Harry Potter kid against the glass talking to snakes, but this time he's talking to sharks, and it's awesome. That there's so many cool things happening. We get to see Orm the Ocean Master. I think the only character we haven't seen in the trailer was Willem Dafoe's character. But they did show a little extra. If you were actually at Hall H, they showed a little extra footage for you. But dude, this movie looks awesome. Brie Larson looks great as Mara. It's kind of strange seeing Aquaman hanging outside of the water for parts of the movies, but it looks like that'll be exciting too. We're getting the whole Throne of Atlantis, it seems like, storyline, which is great. And then we get Black Manta too, and it was like seeing him was just awesome.
Talk about burying the lead. Black Manta looked amazing.
Yeah, I know.
That was the perfect representation you could have done on film.
Yeah.
I tried so hard to go out of this not being hyped because I know that it's going to disappoint me at the end of the day. But I am so goddamn hyped for this movie.
I know.
Everything looks so good.
I know.
Ocean Master's perfect. They even showed still shots of Jason Momoa in the classic Aquaman costume, which got me so excited.
Yep, the orange and green, we're getting it. It's going to happen. It's happening, everybody.
And if that wasn't enough, there are freaking sharks with freaking armor on them.
Yes.
I am so happy about this trailer.
There's people riding sharks. There's people riding seahorses. There's like everything you could ever want.
Everybody get out of my way when this movie comes out. I need to be the first one. It's so...
and then DC was like, okay, Marvel, you're going to give us a free show? Well, let's just drop 2 trailers. And they dropped the Shazam trailer. Boom. I'm hyped for this as well. I really liked it. I know a lot of people, I had explained I was at a party when this dropped, and people were asking me like, who is Shazam? Like, why is he called Shazam? And I'm like, well, it's like strength of lightning of Zeus. And they're like, but why Shazam? I don't know. It's just what it spells.
Because he gets his powers from the Wizard Shazam, you idiot.
Yeah, but it's like there's like the wisdom of Solomon, strength of Hercules, speed of. That's all I got. Something with Zeus, lightning from Zeus. It spells out Shazam, and no, it's not the movie with Sinbad. Or no, was it Sinbad or Shaq?
I think it was Sinbad.
I think it was Sinbad. Either way, not that same movie. I know it's about a magical wizard or genie, but it's not the same movie. I think Zachary Levi looks great. I think he plays the part well. The director also said something that was pretty interesting, and I agree with that. He thought Zach would be perfect for the role because, like, a lot of the times when people are trying to play kids in adult bodies, they just dumb themselves down. Where it's like Zachary is just more. I mean, he's just always excited about stuff, so it's just easy for him to be like to show like joy and wonder and excitement in an adult shell. But yeah, I really liked it. What did you think?
I was lukewarm on it. I think he's got the comedy down, and I can tell that they want this to be their Guardians of the Galaxy. The tone was right. My big problems were I thought the trailer looked awful. Like, it just looked like something that a fan-made trailer or something like that to me.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest complaint is that, well, Zachary Levi is the actor, right?
Mm-hmm.
While I think his acting is good and he can fit that, what you said, that like child's enthusiasm perfectly. Mm-hmm. He looks weird in the suit to me because you can tell that he's not buff at all. He's just a skinny dude in a suit with armor on it or with muscles on it.
Yeah.
It didn't come across. And I know they do that a lot, blah, 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 but it just looked strange to me. So I got high hopes for it. I know that they're still early in production, so this could have been slapped together real quick, but
mm-hmm.
This was kind of the opposite side of the spectrum to me as Aquaman. And while they're still good to take out of it, there was some things that's like, I hope they kind of curve out those rough edges.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can obviously see the muscle suit and stuff, but I think by the tone of the movie, I don't know. I saw that, but like after seeing the trailer, it didn't bother me as much. I don't know. I'm like, he has the cape and the hood. The cape has a hood. I was like, yes. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited for it for sure.
I do agree with you. They got the look of the suit perfect. It's just the actor inside of it didn't look quite right.
Yep. Oh yeah, James Gunn got fired. Hey, there was some Disney news. Yeah, so I mean, we don't like to take sides in any of this crap or give like controversial opinions, but he about 10 years ago he had some really weird and somewhat disgusting tweets that were like, you know, he used to get himself kind of a name for himself, did some controversial stuff. Well, it started resurfacing, and so Disney, instead of dealing with it, just kind of fired him. There's a lot of going on around the internet, whether it's like 50-50, whether it's the right idea or not. I'm kind of, I don't know much, or I feel like I don't have enough of an opinion to kind of make a decision on what I would do there. But yeah, it just goes to show you nobody is safe.
So I did a whole video about this, so check that out. But my short version is that this was something that happened 10 years ago when he was trying to be a comic. And he has apologized back then about it, and he's shown his regret now about it. I feel like we all grow and change, and I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago, as I'm sure, Mike, you're not the same person you were 10 years ago. And it just seems wrong to take something from 10 years ago and say, you're not a very good person, we're going to fire you.
Yeah, and you can bet that almost everybody deleted their Twitters after that.
Yeah, like, dude, Ryan Johnson went back and like deleted a shit ton of tweets.
Yeah, everybody just deleted their tweets. Can't have an opinion if you're working for Disney. And that wasn't even an opinion, though. It was he was trying to be a comic and stuff, but it was like,
It was, don't get me wrong, it was not funny. It was disgusting. It wasn't right. But he apologized, and he seems like he's grown since then.
Yep.
We really try to stay away from these topics, but my biggest problem here is that it's 100% politically motivated, because he is an outspoken left-wing guy, and the person who really dug it up and started making a big fuss about it is a known alt-rightist.
Yeah.
It's just sad that these stupid titles we put on each other have to tear us apart like this, and now Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is going to suffer because of it.
Yeah. All right, moving on. That was our sad news for the day. Disney/Fox deal has been finalized. Woo! All right, our overlords are finally going to take over. Thank God.
I'm just glad this is done with.
Speaking of that Movie Pass thing is kind of failing lately. Have you heard about that? That's like not doing well. They basically told everybody this weekend, because Mission Impossible came out this weekend. They're like, yeah, you can't go see that on Movie Pass, because they're like, the company's going bankrupt. So if anybody got that Movie Pass thing, I'm sorry.
I got in and out in perfect time.
Yeah, because it's like tanking. And I mean, between Disney and Fox having a deal now means they're going to start. I can't even imagine what they're going to do to theaters. They're going to have to force every movie at their theater for like 2 months before they can pull it. So be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, the Movie Pass thing is strange. Like, the whole idea of how companies operate nowadays, especially in Silicon Valley, of like, we're going to lose money for a long time, but by doing that, we're going to kill all the competition. So just keep giving us money. And that's what Movie Pass was. Like, they just, there was no way they were profitable. And finally somebody was just like, all right, I'm sick of sinking money into this shit.
Yep, for sure. That being said, we're going to cut to this interview with Justin Ryan, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Hey guys, Chris here, interrupting the show real quick. Remember, if you want to show your support for Force Comic News, head on down to patreon.com/Force Comic News, where just $1 a month gets you access to our Slack channel, where we can talk comics all day and all night, and exclusive Patreon podcast that we're uploading very soon. A series of games that we play with all the great guests we have here on Force Comic News. You're going to get one of those every month, and just $1 a month gets it for you. So remember, that's the best way to show your support there and to help a growing community and to be a part of it with us. So everybody, thanks for your support, and on with the show.
And welcome back, everybody. Today we have a very special guest for you, author of The Trespasser, Mr. Justin Ryan. Welcome to the show, Justin.
Thank you.
Hey, man. How's it going today?
Hey, good.
Good. I just read the book, Trespasser, today, so I'm pretty excited to talk about it. Chris has read it too, and yeah, I really liked it. But we'll get into that some more. But so why don't you give us your origin story, how you got into comics and how you got with Alterna?
Well, I've always been into comics almost for as long as I can remember. My older brother used to collect even when I was a young kid. So I was, looking at the pictures and Spider-Man, X-Men and stuff before I even knew how to read. So that's really kind of where it started. So I pretty much just kind of always been into it. Didn't really have much of a choice.
You're forced into the life.
Yeah.
So, when did you start getting into writing then? When did it become a thing for you? You were like, okay, maybe I could actually publish something here.
Again, it's very, very early. I remember in kindergarten even, we did a contest for writing and drawing, like a storybook kind of thing. And I remember mine being about 12 pages longer than any of the other kids.
Yeah.
Like a full narrative and everything about two ant colonies going to war and stuff. So it's it's definitely just kind of always been there. Not really something I chose to do.
Wow, so it was like really early on for you.
Yeah.
Wow. So did you end up going to school for writing?
I did not. All I've really done is high school. I haven't gone into really any college or anything after that. Kind of just started working right out of high school.
Awesome. Yeah, and then so how long have you had this idea for Trespasser? Do you want to just give us like a quick rundown of what the book is? Because Chris and I have read it, but just for our listeners.
Yeah. All right. Well, Trespasser is about a guy who lives on a farm alone with just him, his daughter, and his dog. And one day while he's out hunting, sorry, my cat's getting in the camera.
Chris has that problem too. It's fine. It's usually knocking over all this stuff.
Yeah, so he one day he's out hunting and he comes across a creature stuck in one of his bear traps, which is we pretty much immediately recognize as an alien. And of course, it's injured. They can't communicate, so he kind of has to decide what he's going to do from there. Eventually, bringing it home, not really knowing if it's a threat, what it was doing out there to begin with, and what its intentions are.
Okay. Cool. So, like, I mean, we don't want to reveal too much in the story because everybody's got to go out and grab the book and read it themselves. But I enjoyed your style of writing. There's not too much dialogue. You obviously let the art speak for itself too. The art's really good as well. But yeah, it definitely has a cool, like, man, I think this could be a TV show. At least while I'm reading it, like it was really organized and definitely had suspense there with the alien creature of like not knowing what's happening there. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I did as well. I really enjoyed the art to it and just everything that Mike said. So
yeah, so like, are you into sci-fi yourself? Is that one of your genres that you're into, or?
I'm really into a lot of different genres. I'd say probably the main thing that I kind of stick to when I'm writing and I'm reading is horror.
Okay,
and
cool.
And so everything that I do kind of has that element to it. So if I'll write sci-fi, it's usually horror sci-fi. If I write fantasy, it's usually horror fantasy, superheroes, anything like that.
Yeah.
In fact, the next pitch that me and Christian and DC, the entire Trespasser team, are working on is kind of a horror superhero matchup.
Oh, all right.
Well, he just spoke Mike's language.
Yeah, I know. I'll probably end up picking up the book if that's. I'm sold already. Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, as far as working with Alterna, how's that been? I mean, they must be they're always taking chances on horror books or typical stuff that you wouldn't see out in the mainstream, right? So
yeah, and that's actually a big reason why I ended up at Alterna. Is because it's one of the few publishers that is willing to hear completely new ideas from people who aren't established and do just like one shots or miniseries or something. You don't have to be headhunted by Alterna. You can pitch your own story, your own team, whatever length you want to do, whatever genre you want to do, whatever age group, and if they're into it, then they'll publish it.
Awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, I think more and more we need that. We need alternative there for the indie comic scene for sure.
Yeah, and especially with their kind of expanded distribution, I think they're getting into a lot of areas that other people aren't. The whole newsstand initiative and everything.
Yeah, for sure. Especially that price point too. Chris and I talked about it too. You can't beat that price point.
Yeah. That's a really cool thing is if, like, for example, Trespassers, a 4-issue miniseries, you can read for $6.
Yeah, that's awesome.
2 issues of anything else,
That's probably that's like 2 days worth of a cup of coffee. Like, save that money and buy this book. So, like, where did this idea come from? The whole, we have the kind of like the stranded feeling, but then it's kind of the alien, shows up. Typical alien shows up. Well, at least the one that we see, and we can be like, oh, okay, that's a Martian for sure. But you took a nice twist on it where it was like, okay, we helped him out instead of just initially being like, oh my God, he's an alien, kill him. Right?
Yeah.
Which is typically how you see, like, oh my God, he's got big eyes, shoot at him. But here we kind of see him like care for him. So where did this idea come from? Was this something you had going on for a while, or?
Well, my original goal was just to do a one shot, just to kind of get my name out there, and I was brainstorming ideas. The image of an alien stuck in a trap was basically the seed that started it all. I was, and then from there, of course, went to, well, what would I do if I came across this creature that was clearly not human, probably not from this planet, couldn't communicate with it, but it was injured. It wasn't at least an immediate threat. But then once you kind of take that step of not being hostile, of caring for it, how long before you start considering, well, what about when it's healthy? What was it doing there in the first place? That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where the story grew from.
Okay, cool. And you've definitely set yourself up here to expand. I mean, there's kind of like a universe almost now. And
it wasn't really originally the intention. As I mentioned before, sorry, my Google Chat's kind of messing up. Can you guys still hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you. Yep. Yeah, so you didn't intend to create like a universe here, but now it's like, I mean, some of the glimpses that we get of other characters and where you kind of take the book at the end kind of gave me the feeling that you could definitely expand it, though, right?
Okay, sorry, lost you for a minute there.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Trying to get you. All right, I'm sorry. Can you remind me where we were at?
Yeah. So we were talking about how when you originally had the book, your idea wasn't to expand like a universe. It was just you just had this idea for one character, right?
Yeah. Originally, it was even supposed to just be a one shot, as I mentioned. But then once Peter Samedi, the founder of Alterna, once he read it, he's interested in, do you want to do more issues? And this is, my first comics work, so yeah, of course I want to do more issues.
Yeah,
that was something I had even considered as a possibility at that point. However, so I wrote the series after that. I wrote 4 more issues after issue 1.
Oh wow.
And then ended up not liking them. So kind of scrapping that whole idea and starting over again, and then writing 3 more issues, which were the ones that got released and published, which are significantly better than the first version of the story.
Is it hard to do that? So I mean, you write 4 issues, which is it's a lot of content there, and then to have to scrap, like, at what point are you just like, I'm redoing this whole thing? Like, you get fed up to the point, like, it's got to be tough to do.
I almost didn't do it, but then I also knew that if I didn't do it, I wouldn't like the finished product. It was pretty daunting to make the decision, but I pretty much, once I decided I didn't like the way it ended, I kind of had to change everything else leading up to that, because the first issue, it ends on a little bit of a surprise, so I won't spoil that. But the second issue, the original one, began with Hector and his daughter hitting the road and traveling. So the original series wasn't focused on the homestead and everything that happened there. They were traveling to the military base that's mentioned.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is
and so that's where they were headed.
Yeah, that's interesting. He definitely took it in a completely different direction, which is good. I liked it. And can we expect any sequels to come out of this, or do you have anything in mind?
We weren't really planning on a full sequel, although we've had a lot of people show interest, particularly in what happens between episode or issue 4 and what we released originally separately as an epilogue that happens, later. We've had a lot of interest in that, and we were considering running like a Kickstarter campaign or something to try to put together an anthology of short stories, which would be maybe one headline story that's about 15 or 20 pages that kind of bridges that gap. Okay. And then a series of smaller 4 to 12 page stories that take place in the same universe but focus on different characters and different aspects of the world.
Cool. Yeah, so
nothing concrete there yet, but
yeah. And then obviously you have that other idea you're gonna pitch eventually, this horror superhero comic that I can expect to read soon, hopefully. Awesome.
Hopefully. I don't really have a whole lot I can reveal about that one yet, just because it's all going to be kind of up in the air. I've only written the first issue of it, and then have the rest of it kind of outlined.
Cool.
And the working title I have is already taken by another comic book, so I can't even that out.
Gotta figure a new one out. That's tough.
Darn, somebody already took Swamp Thing.
Yeah, Swamp Thing's already taken. Damn. Awesome. So, where can people get your book? Trespasser. They want to find
it's on. Well, if you can find it at your local comic shop, that's the best place to get it. But I know a lot of shops don't carry it. It's also in some newsstands like Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. I don't know if they'll still have many of them since it's a little bit of an older series now. Mm-hmm. You can get them off of the Etsy shop, either my shop or the Alterna Comics Etsy shop, and even on Amazon, I think they have some of the graphic novels left.
Okay, cool. So the graphic novel section, local comic shop. If it's not there, they can order it for you through Alterna. So just ask your friendly neighborhood comic book shop owner, and they'll hook you up.
Yeah, for sure. And they can order those directly from Alterna as well.
Okay, cool. Where can people follow you? Are you an advocate for social media here? Do you have people updating people on what you're doing?
I don't do nearly as much as I'm probably supposed to or probably should to kind of trying to sell myself. I'm a little bit of a recluse, but I am on Twitter, and that's Justin M. Ryan 87.
Awesome. Yeah, so give him a follow over there for when his new projects come out. Hey Justin, thanks for being on the show, dude. This is cool. Really enjoyed your book, and I'm excited for this superhero horror book too. That's for sure.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm excited to ever get it made.
Yeah, awesome.
When it gets made, we'll have you on again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Thanks.
And we're back.
Whoa, all right. Go pick out his book if you can find it at Barnes & Noble or Amazon or local comic shop. Order it there first. Always support local comic shops first. Alterna Comics. Trespasser. Check it out. Okay, now we got a lot more news to get into. No more dilly-dallying there, Chris. I know you want to just goof off.
Let's get to the important stuff.
Comics! Okay, so Mark Silvestri writing and drawing Batman/Joker Deadly Duo. I haven't seen any screens from this. I don't know if they released any images with this, but what a terrible title. Right? Can we just talk about that for a second? I'm a huge Batman fan, but whoa, what book did you read this month? Oh, I read Batman Joker Deadly Duo. It's what? And okay, now if you were gonna tell me he's writing a 66 Batman tie-in, Batman Joker Deadly Duo, Okay, right? But if I'm supposed to take this seriously, and this is like serious, grumpy Batman, this is just my opinion. This is just me coming in fresh, you know? All right? Well, what do you have to say about that?
That aside, I'm super excited to see Mark Silvestri draw Batman again.
Yeah. Honestly, yes. They still have time to change the name. I'm just saying, Deadly Duo, like, really? Is that like... I mean, I can come up with that. It's like, we got a book about two people. Didn't we use Dynamic Duo? We used to use that. Oh, yeah, that was for him and Robin, though. The Joker is a little more deadly. Oh, I got it. Like, that's where it ended? It's where...
All I can think of is, what'd you read this week, Mike? Oh, I read Batman Joker DD.
Double D.
The double Ds.
All right.
Oh, man.
That was about as much as we could say about that. The next thing I'm really excited for, Grant Morrison, Liam Sharp are taking over Green Lantern. I have not had Green Lantern on my pull list since Jeff Johns, which is not. I mean, I've been reading it digitally right now with Vendidi's run, and I've been keeping up with it, like reading up on what's going on. But you know, Grant Morrison, you know he's going to take us to space. You know there's going to be a tentacle monster involved, and the tentacle monster is probably going to be a figment of our imagination that was implanted by an alien race 1 million years ago in a portal that created a time loop. So the Green Lantern Corps are all the same person, just reiterated in the time loop, and it's all a paradox. And then the book's going to end. But I'm going to buy the shit out of it.
If it's not at least 10% hentai, I'm out.
I'm out. That's all you can hear is tentacles, and yeah. But Grant Morrison back on a DC book, like this isn't an Earth One volume. Like he's writing again.
Yeah, this was I'm excited for this. I had this like conversation with a friend where I was like, "We know this is happening. Like the rumors are too much for it not to be a real thing." I was like, "What do you think it is? Do you think it's DC continuity, or do you think it's Black Label?" Which we'll get into that discussion later.
Yeah.
And I was like, it'd be so cool if it was a Black Label book, because then you could just go ape shit. But
he just no holding back. Like, but the problem is, okay, so that's exciting and all, but like when you let Grant Morrison go ape shit is when you get a book like Nameless, where okay, he's going ape shit, but it's like at some point you gotta dial in on a cohesive story. Maybe I just don't have the IQ to understand what happened in that book, but
I still have to read it. I still have my autographed copy of it sitting upstairs. I haven't read it yet.
Autographed copy. Wow, Mr. Big Shot. Maybe you should read it.
Maybe you should come to cons once in a while with me.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, maybe I will. All right.
But
sorry,
my side was that I really love when Grant Morrison does in continuity DC stuff and does something different that really changes the whole universe. So I'm even more excited on this, that it's a DC continuity book.
Yeah, I'm just excited Grant Morrison's is back on doing something that's released once a month. Speaking of exciting books that are going to be released once a month, hopefully, Jeff Johns is finally doing Shazam, and it's for real happening. It's got a release date on November. So we'll see the book probably like next June.
I feel like we've been talking about this book for so long. I'm just glad
it's been like 6 years. It's exhausting.
Yeah, it was like a few months ago when it popped back up and it was going to be announced, and yeah, I'm glad it's finally coming out.
Yep. Batman Who Laughs series is going to be done by Scott Snyder. I guess that's pretty cool. If he can keep like a good story going with it, if we get to see him like in that universe interacting with other people, I think that'd be pretty cool, like in his own universe.
I'll try it because it's Scott Snyder, but I would rather see him just bring back that character as a villain at some point. I don't know if there's a whole lot there for a series. The one shot was kind of all I needed of his backstory.
Yeah, I mean, we already got the whole history, right?
So
we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
Marvel news.
The best
Donny
kind of
Cates heading
news.
to the new Marvel Knights imprint at Marvel. Which means so am I. I'm coming, everybody. Choo-choo. Hype train all aboard.
Our Lord and Savior Donny Cates has come to save Marvel Knights. I'm so
Thank
excited.
God.
I love Marvel Knights. Marvel Knights, when it was resurrected in the 90s by the now head of Marvel, Joe Quesada, and Kevin Smith with Daredevil. Some of my favorite comics of all time. Some of my favorite characters of all time. I'm so excited. Donny Cates, I love you so much.
I don't know what Marvel Knights is. Like, so what is it? Just the regular book about hero? What is it? I have no idea.
It's okay. So Marvel Knights is its own imprint that is street level characters. So it's a lot of. It started off with Moon Knight and Punisher and Daredevil, and all these kinds of characters, and they were kind of kept in their own corner or pocket of the Marvel universe and kept in real street level stories. If you ever read Kevin Smith's Guardian Devil, that was what launched Marvel Knights back in the 90s. It's a line that has so much history to it. I mean, in terms of comics, it doesn't have a ton of history because this is going to be like the 25th anniversary of it. But it's just a line that really kind of reinvigorated Marvel. And it kind of made these stories a little more adult. Not as adult as like the Max series did, but more mature in terms of the stories. So I'm excited. And as we all know, Donny Cates is one of the best storytellers in comics today. So bring it on.
For sure. Sold. All right, so we got Marvel announcing a new digital line with Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist. I feel like I feel like Marvel has ruined Iron Fist as a character, which makes me really sad. Nobody really had an interest in Iron Fist. Like after Immortal, Iron Fist came out, there really wasn't much of an interest, and then Netflix had to like slit its throat and leave it there, and and now nobody wants Iron Fist. So now it's going straight digital. That's the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, these are three characters who. Okay, two characters, Luke Cage and Iron Fist, who were never interesting to begin with. Sorry, Mike. And Jessica Jones, I feel like they just had to put her somewhere after Bendis left.
Yeah.
And they made the decision to make this kind of new digital line all about their Netflix characters.
Yeah.
Not excited at all. I think this is a bad way to do a digital initiative.
Yeah. You need to put a big character on digital initiative. You can't just...
You want to get people to go to Comixology and read digital comics who don't read digital comics, or even people like me who occasionally read digital comics. You create an Ultimates-like universe that you can only buy digitally. Then I will buy tons of digital comics.
Boom. You heard it here first, Marvel. Listen to Chris. He knows a lot more about Marvel than I do.
DC too. DC. If you brought back Earth 2 and said it's an all-digital line,
oh man,
so many people
Earth
would
2.
jump over to...
Remember when Earth 2 was good, and then they brought in Earth 2 Society, and I was like, oh, what are you guys doing? And then it like...
when I got the new Earth 2, yeah.
I had to stop reading. I was like, what did you guys had something good here? And then you just took it and you added another word, society. You're going to get a justice society, and then they were on another planet, and so much potential. Anyways, there's a Star Wars comic trilogy announced. Age of Republic, Age of Rebellion, Age of Resistance. Wow. You know, kind of sounds like the three trilogies that we have. So I guess these books are going to be focused on each one of the trilogies, if I had to guess.
And the next one will be Age of Ryan Johnson.
Age of Ryan Jones. The Johnson Age.
Johnson Age.
Yes.
I will read
Age of
anything
Johnson.
Marvel puts out in Star Wars because they've been doing an amazing job at it.
Yeah.
And this is a 24-issue maxi series. Yes, please.
And then Image Comics is Saga's taking a year-long intermission. Sons of bitches.
Fuck this.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about that book this week. And
I get where he's coming from, that him being Brian K. Vaughan, he talked about kind of needing a break and wanting to do more with the characters in the book, and then wanting to try some new things, but fuck.
a year?
Yeah, a year.
A whole year? It's one of the Image's top-selling books, man. Like, you think Kirkman just gets to take a year off from The Walking Dead? Like,
yeah, it at the end of the day, I think when we're 10 years, 20 years down the line, and we're both in canes, barely able to walk, that's right, I'm talking about our 40s.
That's it. That's the one.
Well, it won't matter. We'll look back at this as a whole 100, 200 issues, whatever it is, and remember how awesome this book was. So
still is.
It sucks in the here and now, but I don't think it'll matter in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I got enough books to keep me busy till then, honestly.
Yeah, to be real, if less books could come out, that would be fantastic.
It's like, I think I'm going to cut down, and then, like, Donny Cates writes another Marvel book, and I'm like, okay, I said I would try Marvel out. I didn't say I was going to switch over to Marvel. Like, it was really messed up.
And then Ryan Ollie starts writing drawing Spider-Man.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man, I got, like, more Marvel books this week than anything. It's sick. It's like, who am I? Who am I? You know, it's like, who am I?
It's like those weeks. There's like 1 week every month where the only book I get is Squirrel Girl from Marvel, and then it's like 8 DC books. And I look in the mirror and I just go, "Who are you?
Who are you?" And it's weird because like the DC and the Marvel books, they don't like this week was the week they're like, "Oh, we're going to release, you know, the Donny Cates Venom and Spider-Man #2." It's like, what? Why can't you like get the big names, like spread them out throughout the month, man? Like. And then DC's like, okay, we're going to give you Justice League #1, and then we're going to give you Doomsday Clock. And it's like, all right, I get it. Like, relax. Anyways, just like me complaining about all the comics we have to read.
Speaking of all the comics we've been reading.
Let's talk about comics that we've read. Kids. I guess I'll just kick this bad boy off. Well, I guess we didn't talk about last week, but there's so many books this week that I just don't. I'm going to let you talk about Redneck this week because I did not read it.
Neither did I, so don't worry.
Perfect. Look at this. We're already failing. Okay. So Batman 51. We'll see where this is going to go. There's not a whole lot I could say here about like, I mean, Tom King's still a great writer. There's because he made me completely forget about the wedding, and now this issue revolves all around Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne gets called in for jury duty on a case with Mr. Freeze. And everybody says he's guilty, and Bruce Wayne raises his hand and says not guilty. That's how the issue ends. So we're going to get Tom King's version of 12 Angry Men with Bruce Wayne, which, am I mad about that? Probably not. There's obviously a reason that Bruce Wayne is on the... He wouldn't... if Bruce Wayne is doing jury duty, it's out of his own choice. Like, he definitely implanted himself within the system to show up for this trial, right? It's not just a coincidence. So we'll have to find out more of that.
If I may interject, there's a podcast called Word Balloon with John Suntress. I don't know if you've heard of it. Tom King was on it, and they did like 2 hours of Q&A. And I suggest anyone who likes Tom King, especially his Batman run, listen to it, because he has some really insightful things to say. And it came out around the time of the wedding, so he's talking a lot about that.
Kick-Ass number 6 was kind of like the end of it's the end of the first story arc with Patience as Kick-Ass. Really cool. Obviously, it's really bloody. She gets out at the end, gets with her family, and is able to share the wealth that she gets for them. So it was a nice ending at the end. I'm really interested in I would love to see this Kick-Ass on the big screen, because this isn't like he was training himself. Like, this woman was in the special forces, and like, you don't mess with this Kick-Ass. Weatherman number 2.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk about that one?
I love this book.
Yeah, it's really good.
So we get a little bit more of the Earth Day Memorial and what's going on and how people are reacting to it.
Yep.
It seems like people aren't happy with how the politicians are treating the incident.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely got that vibe too.
Yeah. And then we get kind of a torture scene with the lead character where he's being kicked and punched and just beaten, and then they take his dog, who they shot in the head, and sling it around his shoulders so he can hang there with a dead dog around his shoulders, which is really fucked up.
Yeah, it really, like, when they did that, I was like, okay, this is a little too much.
But at the end of the day, you find out that the reason his girlfriend, who was actually an operative, was watching him was because they are pretty sure that he's this other person who's responsible for the Earth massacre. And that person then went to a Total Recall like thing and erased his memory to become this guy. And now they need him for something. And then Peter Dinklage shows up. And tell me that's not Peter Dinklage on that page, man.
Dinklage, yeah. I mean, like, he's an actor, and this is a comic, but yeah.
Yeah. And, like, an old crew comes and, like, attacks this base that they're at. This book, the first issue was so, like, I loved it because it had those purples and those greens and those yellows and the great colors. And it had a real Blade Runner-esque vibe. And then this one feels more like Total Recall, where Schwarzenegger's just on Mars, just shooting people and being badass. This book is so good. It ends in such a cool place. And I did not see that coming. The whole twist of him being someone different was not on my radar.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like, let's just give a moment to talk about, like, Jody Leahup. I don't even know. It sounds like I'm hiccuping, but that's his last name. What a versatile writer to go from Shirtless Bear Fighter to this.
I need to read Shirtless Bear Fighter now. Like, that's how much I like this book.
It definitely is a lot more refreshing and fun than this. Especially how they just straight up killed a dog in the first issue. But yeah, it's definitely worth a read.
And also, everybody should notice, I don't know if it's his like company or his imprint, but the back cover, Brutal Noodles.
Yeah.
I want a t-shirt, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, me too. It looks awesome. Okay. That was it for me last week. I don't know if you want to talk about last week, and then we'll talk about this week.
I have mine kind of all meshed together, so just go through your books.
All right, let's talk about Doomsday Clock number 6, bro.
Yeah, bruh.
We get the origin story of, like, Mime and what is her name?
Marionette,
which is pretty neat and sad and dark. the dad worked in a puppet shop, and he was obviously in a like a crude area to have the shop, and he had to give money to gangsters to keep himself open, blah blah blah. And then they find their parents dying, and then they're on the run together for like the rest of their lives. Really interesting. They're hanging out with Joker, and then we get to see this cool interaction where they're in the tunnels, and then like they meet up with Mr. Freeze's henchmen in the tunnels, and they're like, "Oh no, it's the Joker," and like, "Oh god, he's worse than Mr. Freeze." And the henchmen are like, and then you think like, "Oh man, the henchmen must run into each other all the time because like, of course the criminals use the sewers to get around." Like, so they just must be running into each other all the time.
It made me want to write a story all about that, where like the henchmen are just sitting in a bar, just like, what, like those stories you get where you're sitting after work, like, what the fuck did your boss do today?
Yeah. Like they have like Joker tattoos on their face because they like Joker is like, okay, you want to be on my crew, and then he starts tattooing clown stuff on their face. And then we get to see all these awesome villains at the end, and they're all meeting up because the world's going to shit basically, and even the villains don't feel safe, so they're like, okay, now we got to team up, like, which is really cool. And then they have this big meeting, and of course the comedian's got to crash the party. And dude, this is like we get to see the comedian being a badass hero, like jumping in, just straight up shooting people. Like he's like, oh, all the villains are gathered in one spot, let me just start dropping people. Like, awesome.
Yeah, doing his best Punisher impression, just killing everything in sight.
Yeah, and they're like terrified of him, which was great because he's just got guns, like.
And then the ending when they're in the Marionette and Mime are in the hotel room, and obviously fucking, and Punisher. Comedian walks in with a gun, and then Joker's behind him, like zaps him.
Yeah,
and that's how we leave the book. Like, this was by far the best issue of the series so far, in my opinion.
Yeah, we're getting into the thick of it now. Things are going to happen. Yeah, it's really good. Can't wait. And the art was just awesome. So good. Gary Frank, man. Wow. Hit Girl number 6. Hit Girl's in Canada still. She meets up with this old timer. She's kind of injured, hanging out in his cabin. She stepped in a bear trap. And it kind of like she has this whole interaction with him. She passes out for a little bit, sees her dead father like while she's under, like kind of like passed out. And he's just this old guy that lives in the woods. You find out he had a young daughter that died, and as they're sitting there, they get ambushed because the guy who she killed in the woods, well, his father isn't very happy, so they bring back more men to the woods with them. Hit Girl stuff in the snow. It's a good book. Jeff Lemire's writing it. Oh boy, Saga number 54. Ooh, yeah. Spoilers, because this is probably the only book we'll talk about with a very, very, very spoilerific plot line. So I would skip maybe like 5 minutes ahead. Okay. So, spoilers again. We're going to do a 3, 2, 1, then we're talking about 3, 2, 1. Okay. What the fuck? What?
I haven't read the book yet.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. Why didn't you just open up with that then? Why you got to tell me these things?
No,
All right.
go ahead.
No, okay. Well, I don't want to.
Dude, I'll read it in like 2 or 3 days. I'll forget. It's fine. Go ahead.
All right. Well, they killed Marco. Marco's dead.
What?
Yeah.
Why would you say spoilers first, man? What the
fuck? Yeah. So the whole break makes a lot of sense because, like, even I was like, I don't know what he's gonna do now. Yeah, like Marco and the Will are in this huge fight, this huge battle in space. Like they take off in the spaceship, they're fighting, and Marco has the opportunity to kill him, and he doesn't. And he's looking back at the planet they're leaving, and then he gets stabbed in the back and is dead. Like he's laying there bleeding out. I'm pretty sure he's dead. Like
That really sucks.
Yeah,
he's not really dead though.
I think he's dead. I don't know. He looks dead. Like they showed a few frames of him just laying there, like bled out on the floor. Like he got stabbed through the heart, through the back, like came out the other side.
I don't think he's dead.
I don't know how you recover from that. I've seen a lot of comic book. Well, listen, if Brian K. Vaughan could comic book science this into a way where he lives, I mean, hey, I guess I'm kind of immune to all this now because I remember the episode, or not the episode, the issue where like Adam Eve gets blown up and then kind of just like reconstructs herself. I'm like, after that, I'm just like immune to all this comic book death stuff. Like, if she could just reconstruct herself, like, yeah, so that happened. That's pretty much the biggest thing that happens in that book. So, yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see in a year what happens. Amazing Spider-Man #2. I'll let you talk about this one. I really liked it. It's so funny that we were arguing, like, or we were talking about what is the lizard called? Like, what is his name? Like, is it Dr. Lizard? Yeah, and then like this whole issue revolves around the lizard, which is pretty hilarious. And dude, the inclusion of all these shitty villains has been fantastic. Like, I've always found Taskmaster very interesting because he just looks like Skeletor. But I've never read a book that ever involved Taskmaster until now. So I was really excited to say that, yeah, I've read a book that had Taskmaster in it.
Taskmaster is in a lot of Captain America stuff, so I'm familiar.
Is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I haven't read this book, though. So.
Oh, my God. Wow. Apparently, I read all the books this week. Yes, it revolves all around the lizard. So the lizard is actually teaching college now because he has this device that's made out of adamantium that when he turns into a lizard man, if he has the impulse to kill anybody, it like changes him back to his human form, which is great. So now he's teaching college. He develops this new machine, or he reverses the machine that turned Peter Parker into a spider. It's like this machine that like mends two life forms together, or like alters two life forms. Somehow it's related to the radioactive spider. I don't know. They showed it like in a flashback. I'm like, oh, I guess it's just part of the thing now. He basically they do a lot of hand waving stuff where they're like, okay, well, you're discredited as a science official because you cheated on your paper, but I trust you, Peter Parker, so we're going to have you join my class and re-get your degree, blah, blah, blah. So now he's back in college, I guess. So as they're talking about this, Taskmaster and the Ant show up, I think it was the Ant, who's basically like Ant-Man.
Yeah.
They show up and they steal the ray, or they try to steal the ray. Well, what happens is the ray goes off. So at the end, you're like, oh man, Spider-Man saved the day. It was just Peter Parker went and changed. No, the issue ends with Peter Parker meeting Spider-Man. So something happened where the ray went off, and now I think they're split into two separate people, which, like, I don't know what's going on. Pretty cool.
If I remember correctly, it's Black Ant.
Black Ant, you're right. Yep, it's Black Ant. Like 90% of ants are black. You know, it's like I don't get it.
Because Ant-Man's red, so the evil ones are black.
Yeah. It was a really good book. Yeah, so that's it. That's all I had. I had Redneck, but I haven't read that yet. So there's one I didn't get to.
All right, I'll start with Infinity Wars Prime #1. We start with Loki trying to figure out why a bunch of stories that he was involved in the Vault have been changed, and he's not sure why. And it has something to do with the God Quarry. And then we get the story about Adam Warlock meeting with Doctor Strange and trying to figure out what's going on inside the Soul Stone. And there's some sort of weird Grant Morrison hentai-like creature coming out. And, damn cat. And, yeah, so stuff's happening in there. And we basically find out that Adam Warlock was sent by Thanos to take the stone from Doctor Strange, but Strange did not let that happen. So essentially, we're set up to believe that this story is all about Thanos trying to get the Infinity Stones back and do that whole gig over again. So then we jump over to Chitauri Prime, where Thanos has taken over and is in charge of all the Chitaris. And as he's given this riveting speech, he sends out for his partner, who I believe is supposed to be Death, who comes out and then stabs him through the heart and chops his head off. And that's how we end the issue.
Oh, all right then.
So we're going to start Infinity Wars with Thanos dead. Oh, and she kills all the Chitauri. I forgot about that part. I'm so excited for that. All right. After that, I got Punisher, number 228. Really liking Punisher. It's Punisher in the War Machine armor. It's a really cool, fun story with Punisher killing a bunch of people. I don't know how that's fun, but okay.
It's fun for Punisher.
But in these last couple issues, I talked with Travis when he was on the show covering for you about Punisher, and how they had this moment where everyone was kind of like, dude, you like worked for Hydra. Well, after that, he made the decision to go and hunt down Hydra and try to kill them all. And in that process, he ends up freeing Zemo and Supreme Leader Rogers from prison. And then we find out that the original War Machine, Rhodes, is still alive. And he confronts Frank and says, like, you know, give me my fucking armor back, dude. And it ends with him meeting up with Black Widow and Winter Soldier and is setting up the next Punisher book that Rosenberg's doing.
Mm-hmm.
After reading this, I actually want to read the next Punisher book. I'm going to try it out.
Oh, he got you. Real Jen.
Yeah, because I read this because I thought the idea of him in the War Machine armor was cool.
I remember. Yeah.
I like those wacky stories. But he did such a great job setting this up, and the fact that he's kind of hunting down Hydra has me intrigued. And then to have those two characters in it as well. Did you not read Venom number 4?
I did. I don't know why I didn't talk about it, but yes, I did read that.
So basically, we get Noel's story, like how he came about.
Dark Knight Metal.
Kind of, yeah.
The whole time I was reading it, I was like, Dark Universe, Dark.
Well, it's
which
kind
is
of
fine. Like, yeah, it's good.
It's said that he basically exists before the Big Bang, and when the Big Bang happens and light explodes and Celestials come, shit starts to go down. So it's all about how he created the symbiote and how they basically explain how he was the creator of the symbiote and the god of the symbiote, while at the same time, we've always known the symbiotes to have their own planet that they come from and to be their own beings. Well, they're not their own beings, or they're not organically created. They're created by this character, and the planet is actually a ton of symbiotes together trying to trap him in. So it was kind of a cool story, and we'll see where it takes us, but it was a little bit of a sidestep from the main story, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's still interesting to know there's like a planet of symbiotes.
Yeah. The last time they visited it was in issue of Guardians of the Galaxy when different Venom was on the team.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool, so.
That was like the Venom that used guns, right?
Yeah. That was actually, it was a cool idea. I just never thought outside of Guardians they used it right. Because it was supposed to be Flash Thompson, and he had lost his legs in the Iraq War. So they gave him a symbiote so that he could walk.
Yeah.
And be like a super soldier.
Yeah, basically.
And I got the Sentry number 1. This was Jeff Lemire's new book at Marvel.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So basically, the Sentry is they have to hold the Sentry back because when the Sentry comes, so does the Void, and we don't want that to happen. So Strange created this thing that teleports into another dimension where he can be the Sentry and fight crime. And there's kind of a Shazam thing going on because he's got like a Sentry family. Mind you, I'm not big on Sentry, so I don't know the backstory here.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is new or not, and they go on an adventure, and then he comes out, and he's just a dude. And he's a dude who works at a diner in New York City. And we end the issue with basically that teleporter machine has been stolen, and he doesn't know what to do. And I'll end on Action Comics 1001. Sorry. Did you not pick this up either?
No, I didn't read this one.
So this
I'm just reading Superman.
Okay. This is more of a continuation of Man of Steel because it's all about the fires that were going on around Metropolis. And basically Superman was blamed for them. Somebody said that it was Superman that did it. We find out this little kid told the cops because he was paid by a supervillain to do so.
Oh, classic supervillainy.
Yes.
Pay the little kids to do your bidding.
This supervillain is part of a group who meet in a lead-covered like tube.
Oh.
So that Superman cannot hear them or see them.
Wow.
And kind of they all accuse each other of who was doing the fires and who made this kid do it and everything. They find out who it is and shit goes down. And now we've got some weird creature I've never seen before in a comic book before. But it looks kind of like Surtur. Is that somebody in DC?
This like red thing?
Yeah.
Not that I can recall.
So I think it's a new character.
What's his name?
I don't know if they said it. It's been like a week since I read it. But yeah, I don't know. She's made up of this gas and she kills everybody. And it's, yeah. So it was good. It kind of went to answer some of the questions we had out of Man of Steel. So if you enjoyed Man of Steel and you enjoyed Superman, I think this is going along with that and worth picking up.
Awesome.
So I'll end there because we've had a long podcast.
It's been another long one. Where can everybody find you, Christopher?
They can find me on Twitter at Fortress Chris. What about you, Mike?
Find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. And where can they find the show if they're so inclined to seek it up?
Well, you can find the show at FCN_official or at FortressComicNews.com. And remember, if you're listening to this on iTunes or any other podcast service, to give us a review, preferably 5 stars or up. And it helps us in the algorithms and all that fancy crap. And if you're watching us on YouTube, to give us a thumbs up and comment below and do all that stuff. And no matter who you are, if you can hear us, share the show. You might have friends who will enjoy our voices as well.
Oh.
So thanks for listening and watching, and we'll see you all next week.
See ya.